Okay, we're back talking about Twin Peaks The Return, Episode 7. I'm going to do a live reaction to Episode 8 momentarily, because that's the one everyone's talking about, but Episode 7 was fantastic. I loved Episode 7. We open up with Hawk and Sheriff Frank Truman looking at what Hawk found in the bathroom stall of the Sheriff's Department in Twin Peaks, which was, holy fuck, some of the missing pages of Laura Palmer's diary. Like, that was just a, oh my god. And not only that, but we got the page where Laura wrote about seeing a vision of Annie, talking about how Good Dale is trapped in the Black Lodge. So that was really a complete, strong link to the movie Fire Walk With Me, which is really cool. But also kind of gave the impetus for Hawk to talk to Truman about the, what happened with Cooper and the whole thing with this Black Lodge. And I kind of had forgotten how Hawk was the one who first told Cooper about the Black Lodge and the White Lodge, and how if you were to confront, the Black Lodge without the proper courage, then, you'd be fucked, basically. And about meeting your shadow self, which I'd forgotten about too, which obviously is what the doppelganger is, Bad Cooper. So that was just a real cool fan-pleasing moment. That some of the pages of Laura Palmer's diary, they talk about how Leland probably hid them there when he was called in for questioning. Kind of, it's plausible, but unlikely that they would kind of refurbish the entire Sheriff's Department but leave the bathroom stall door. And, it's kind of hanging open a little bit and no one checked it for a quarter of a century. But, you kind of let these things slide, I think. Because initially I thought, well, who put them there? And they're like, well, obviously Leland did it. Okay, I guess so. Frank Truman had a Skype call with Doc Hayward. Doc Hayward was back in the show, and that was really cool. And again, another actor who passed away before the show even came out, Warren Frost, rest in peace. He was very old, and it was really cool he got to do his little part. I don't know whether the Skype thing was kind of to service the fact that he couldn't come out and film anything, or they couldn't go and film anything with him, and he literally had to do a Skype call. I don't know if that's the case, but it would certainly fit. And it was kind of funny to see, Sheriff Truman in this, in his office, and it's all very wood paneled and kind of, retro kind of, and then this screen kind of lifts up from the desk. But, I think a lot of people can relate to that idea in a way, knowing that Warren Frost has passed away, that sometimes a lot of people that they move away and or they live far apart from their family, and the last time that they speak to some of their family members is over Skype. That certainly happened with me. My great uncle, Tommy, the last time I kind of saw him really was through Skype before he passed away. So that made me think of that, and it felt kind of entirely plausible, I guess, that you would just Skype someone when you need to talk to them, because that's the world that we live in now. And obviously Twin Peaks, as much as it kind of lives in its own bubble, it's still caught up with the rest of the world in some way, at least. We have Dougie, well, Cooper, kind of get called in for questioning over Dougie's car that got blown up, and then the little guy comes in and tries to kill Cooper, and then Cooper kind of just instantly calls himself into action and kind of disarms the guy and stuff, and then he gets a vision from the man from another place, the kind of tree thing, saying break his arm off or whatever. That was a really cool little scene where Cooper really springs into action. And I've been watching Zaran Isaac's videos talking about Twin Peaks, and he kind of mentioned something I hadn't considered before. I was kind of thinking that Cooper is being guided through this period as Dougie Jones by the Black Lodge. He's getting these messages, from the man, the one-armed man, and also just like these kind of the weird kind of light that was moving across the pages of the insurance paper, the Black Lodge vision guiding him to win the money, all that kind of stuff. But Zaran Isaac was saying he thinks that it's more really to do with Cooper trying to break out, and Cooper trying to help himself and break through this malaise, I suppose. I think that's a really cool idea, and that his kind of his built-in instincts as an FBI agent are kind of seeping through this kind of brain malfunction or whatever. So I quite like that idea. But he's still very much, almost the mind of a child in a way. But those little moments creep in, like when he says to that guy in the office, he's lying. And that made me think of the scene with Cooper and Leo when he's like, did you know Laura Palmer? And he's like, no. And he's like, you're lying. It made me think of that. So yeah, that's kind of cool how that's progressing, and I just can't wait for him to come back as full Cooper. I think everyone can kind of agree with that, and it'll probably take till the end of the series, because that's how David Lynch likes to drag these things out. What else have we seen in episode 7? Because it was a really, really damn good one. Damn fine episode, episode 7. Bad Cooper kind of blackmailed his way into getting released from the prison on the sly. He had some stuff on the warden that could really screw him up, and I don't know whether that's because Bad Cooper has lived this kind of nefarious 25 years where he's accrued all this information on people in high places, or whether there's some kind of weird Black Lodge kind of black magic going on where he can kind of meet someone and just kind of find out their kind of innermost kind of secrets that he can use against them. But either way, the end of the episode sees him getting released with Ray, I think. And also Diane. We had Gordon and Albert go to visit Diane because Diane was not responsive to Albert's plea to come and check out this Cooper in prison. And so Gordon goes along with Albert, and you know, they kind of convince her, and I love how Laura Dern plays Diane, and I think, again, my heart of hearts, I think that it would be best if we didn't see Diane, but it's a fun character to explore, and she mentions how, you know, her and Cooper, the last time they saw each other was in her apartment, so maybe something was going on between them. But I mean, she would know him very well. It makes sense for them to bring her in, to call her up, and to kind of verify, is this really Cooper? Because we've checked the fingerprints, and he has Cooper's fingerprints, but they're reversed. The shadow self, right? So they take her in to meet Bad Cooper. Obviously, another thing that came up was the dead body from one of the first episodes is the body of Major Garland Briggs. Holy shit. As a big fan of that character, that was just mind-blowing to me. Obviously, the guy who played him died almost 10 years ago now. So it's so great that he's still involved. And I like how they're doing that. Like Harry Truman, you know, is still in the show. That, you know, we see his brother on the phone to him, even if the actor has declined to come back, that the characters are still part of it, and I really like that. You know, Bob is still kind of a part of it, and you know, Harry is still kind of a part of it, and in this sense, Garland Briggs is still a part of it. We saw his face floating, and what? I didn't even think about that. We saw his head floating in episode 3 because he didn't have his head, because his body. Oh my god, so simple. I love that. I love that. And obviously the officials are kind of quite perturbed, but they found Garland Briggs' fingerprints on his body, which has only recently, you know, been dead, and it's a body of a 40-year-old man, not a 70-year-old man. So what the hell has gone on? Where has Briggs been? You know, like, so many questions, which I love. And it just, again, it's just the end of the original Twin Peaks. It's like, so much unanswered, and now it's like, okay, forget those answers. Here's more answers you're going to be craving, because we're going to throw so much more at you, and I kind of like that. We had a scene with Benjamin Horne and Beverly, who I'm assuming is his assistant in the Great Northern, and they hear this weird noise, and they're trying to figure it out. A really nice kind of eerie scene, but it was kind of like warm and cozy at the same time, and there seems to be kind of a friendly kind of romantic tension between the two, which is quite interesting. And she goes back and visits, well, not visit, she goes back to you know, see her husband, who seems to be terminally ill, and it seems like she's spending a bit too much time at the Great Northern, which kind of lends, you know, more weight to the idea that there's something going on between her and Benjamin Horne, or she wants there to be. And also she picks up the key, the room key that Cooper fell out of his pocket in Vegas, and then was mailed back by the Jade, the hooker. And so it ends up at the Great Northern, and Benjamin Horne's like, wow, this is one of the old keys before we changed to cards, and that was the room that Agent Cooper. I just love all that stuff. It's really cool. Yeah, I'm easily pleased. I'm very easily pleased. And the scene between Diane and Bad Cooper was really well played, and she kind of confirmed to Gordon Cole and Albert that isn't real. There's something not right there about him. You know, it's not Cooper. And so who knows where they're going to take that information, and whether they kind of follow it through that much. And again, I like Diane's kind of very sassy, kind of frosty demeanor. You know, what was your name again? Tammy. Fuck you, Tammy. I love how when she said to Tammy, you know, fuck you, Tammy, it was kind of like it was a fuck you. But when Albert and Gordon come to visit her, she's like, yeah, fuck you, Gordon. You know, there's more. It was like a loving fuck you. You know, whereas with Tammy, it was quite. I don't know. I just like how Laura Dern was able to inject a different inflective meaning to the phrase "fuck you" in different situations. So there we go, episode 7. Really, really, really enjoyed it a lot. Episode 8 is coming up. There's a lot of weird stuff to come, so I'm going to dive right into that. and give you my live reaction to it. Hopefully that'll work out well, and then we'll roll on and try and catch up to the current episodes. I think it's up to about 12 or 13 now, so all speed ahead. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and also, go check out my next installment of the Twin Peaks journey. Slice number 2 is now out. Put a lot of time into that video. Hardly anyone's watched it, and it's understandable, but if you are a Twin Peaks fan, please go check out my my second video in my Twin Peaks journey, where I'm looking at the original series and kind of going in depth, and well, not in depth really, but kind of giving my flowing, you know, rambling thoughts on the show as I go along, as I'm watching it, reacting to it in a way, and I put a lot of clips in and things like that, so I hope you enjoy that. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video, which will be the episode 8 reaction. So, yeah. Oh, another thing I forgot. I had to talk about this. There is a shot in this episode of the Roadhouse, and we have the guy who played Jacques Renault back as another member of the Renault family, who happens to look exactly like Jacques Renault. It's kind of cool that he's back for that. But there's this shot of just a guy sweeping the floor in the Roadhouse with some music in the background. And, you know, in my mind's eye, in you know, thinking back, I was like, I think that was like a minute-long shot. Maybe it's not a minute long, you know, that's a bit excessive. I went back and checked. It's over 2 minutes long, just a shot of someone sweeping the floor. Only David Lynch could kind of get away with that. I kind of found it funny, but I could see people tearing their hair out or something like that. I mean, it was really... I almost felt like I had an out-of-body experience watching it, because it was, am I really watching this for so long? Just someone sweeping a floor? What is this? You know, 2 minutes in the span of an episode of television is an incredibly long time. So I can't believe he got away with that. Maybe he didn't. Maybe people are up in arms about it. But I thought it was kind of cool at the same time, because I kind of appreciate things like that. Sometimes, anyway. It kind of depends. It's kind of 50-50. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.
He's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans and calling into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you.